The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available in print and ebook formats on Amazon.
It's now time for The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and sponsored by international award-winning author Mia Mosinzia of Missing. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 40 podcast platforms, as well as hamiltonradio.net, Diamonds FM, and themikewagnershow.com. We can be heard in over 100 countries, featuring over 1,000 well-known and amazing guests throughout the globe. And named one of the top 100 global podcasts in the New York Weekly Times, Hollywood Entertainment News, Los Angeles Weekly Times, Apple, and Chartable. So sit back and relax and enjoy another great episode of the award-winning Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosinzia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mosinzia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Mosinzia has garnered great reviews and Eve 11 enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forbes Riley, and Eminence. So grab your copy today for it goes Missing by Mia Mosinzia, available on Amazon. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 40 podcast platforms, heard in over 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartradio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple Music, and also heard on hamiltonradio.net, Diamonds FM, Oldies Radio, and a few networks coming to you very soon. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out The Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, baseball gear, and more. Makes great gifts 24/7 for your family, friends, and loved ones. Amazon.com. Check out The Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Mosinzia. Or great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Mosinzia. Check it out today. Also support The Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com at The Mike Wagner Show. Make sure you do so today. We're here with a terrific lady who has a new book out, and it's about a true story about her father and aunt's heroic, painful journey, dodging through mortars and also seeing death around them when they were children trying to escape the Bosnian War. We'll talk about that. And of course, also believes that what's happening in Ukraine is simply similar to what they're going through as well, too. And of course, it also talks about the real cost of war. And she's 20 years old and a student at Ella Colic, and she's studying to become in reconstruction surgery. So I like to wish her that. And she began her book at 15 when she was handed a pile of letters by her father, written by her dad or relative, and during the war as well, too. And also some things happened as well. And the book was published in Bosnia as well, too. And the book is called Trees Without Roots. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Los Angeles. We got the amazing author of the book, Trees Without Roots, and shares her story. Ladies and gentlemen, the amazingly multi-talented Ella Colic. Ella, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for having me here today and for all of your kind words.
Well, it's great to have you on board as well, too, Ella, and got to check out some of your previews as well, too. It's amazing. Your new book is basically a true story about your father and aunt's heroic, painful journey, dodging through mortars and seeing death around them when they were children, trying to escape the Bosnian War. And of course, you also had seen are observing what's happening with going into Ukraine and children as well, and talk about that, especially the real cost of war. And of course, you being 20 years old, you're a student at Ella College studying reconstructive surgery, and you began the book at 15 when you were handed a pile of letters by a relative, and also the book was published in Bosnia. It's making way to the States. And before getting all that, Ella, tell us how it first got started.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part? My Wi-Fi is a little bit shaky. So
no problem. No problem. Yeah. Get those bugs out of there, will you? Yeah. Tell us how you first got started. Bugs go away.
Yeah. So started as in writing, the writing process, or education?
No, simply go way back. Way back. Okay. So if we want to go way back, I was first interested in poetry when I was really young. I believe I was around 9-10 years old when I first started doing creative writing. I've attended some poetry contests, whatnot, and I even won like some young author competitions back in middle school. And it wasn't until I turned 15 and a half, where I rediscovered my love for writing. And I decided after I got those letters that this would make a really interesting concept for a book. And, like when you're young, you believe you can do anything, correct? So I figured, why not just tackle this big project and see how far I can go with it? It would really challenge my creative side, especially in regards to writing. And here I am. That's rather interesting. And what was that one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing for your rest of your writing career?
I would say it's when I got those letters. I didn't really tell my parents this, but the second I got those letters, something kind of clicked in me, and I decided that I should write a book about it. But I waited just a few days because I knew they were going to be like, oh, you're young. Like everyone wants to write a book when you're young. So let's see if you can like really follow through. So of course there was a little bit of doubt, of course, in like a loving way, not in like a, oh, you're not going to succeed way. You know what I'm saying? So that was the moment where it influenced me to continue writing, especially since it had a very personal feel to it. And it was a bit of a different style because, in high school and college, you write a lot of essays, a lot of very analytical pieces, but this really influenced me to pursue kind of more of the creative side, because I would have to interview both my father and aunt on separate occasions and try to make the story a bit more personal for the readers.
Mm-hmm. And of course, how challenging was it for you to interview your dad and your aunt about the whole thing, what they went through with the Bosnian War?
I would say that was the most challenging aspect, because it took them a while to get comfortable. Of course, my aunt, she was a bit different because she was ready to share these stories with me. So she opened up fairly quickly. But for my father, it took him about 1.5 years total of interviews, because he, of course, there's like a little personal relationship. He is my father. He doesn't want to unleash all these burdens on me. He's having this little bit of a defensive and protective role because I am his daughter. But once he figured that I could handle it, and I was trying to make him comfortable about it, then he was ready to share those stories with me.
Mm-hmm. What was that one moment simply that you felt that your dad was ready to talk about the war? It's like, what period, and what was that one moment that simply said that I'm ready to talk about this?
It's really hard to pinpoint because he fluctuated a lot between, I like to say that he was kind of in a zone when he would be telling the stories. So something would trigger in him and he would start expressing himself. He would go on this monologue, and I would just sit there, record and listen to his stories. But there were other times where he would be very dismissive about it, cut me off, give me very bland answers. It could be like the following day too, after one of those types of interviews. So really, it's kind of hard to pinpoint when that happened.
Mm-hmm. And of course, how's this book impacted how you feel about the war in Ukraine?
I see a lot of similarities that are going on. If anything, I just feel more disappointed because we're letting history repeat itself, essentially. So I mostly feel for the children, especially because they have no idea what's going on politically. They just know they have to leave their hometown, maybe even leave their families and start a new life elsewhere. Mm-hmm.
And also, too, with what happened in the Bosnian War around the 90s or so, and then you had the Ukraine War, going on in the 2020 decade as well, too, that media coverage was a lot different. And do you feel the media coverage has been overblown with the Ukraine? They gotten more details, or was it just like, just too intimate? So how do you feel about the media coverage, like with the Ukraine War compared to Bosnia back in the 90s?
I definitely do think there's a lot more media coverage going on with the Ukrainian war, but I do think that's a good thing because you get to see firsthand accounts of what's happening, and there's a lot less censorship in that way. You could be scrolling through, let's say, Instagram or some major social media platform and see a firsthand perspective of someone over there going into their bunkers, or you see a lot of intimate moments where I remember vividly, there's this one video I saw where they're playing a piano in their destroyed office building while grenades are falling around them, or like the grenade sirens are going off. So I do think it does create those types of media coverage does create a bigger impact. And that's what's drawing a lot of attention. But on the other hand, like most stories that are in the media, it comes and goes pretty quickly. So I think right now that there's a lot less media coverage going on in regards to the Ukrainian war. I mean, that's may not be necessarily true, but a lot of the tension is now being diverted because there's so many current events going on. So that's just some of the pros and cons I've been seeing with the media coverage right now.
Mm-hmm. And how about the cost of war as well, too? It's just like, how much is it really costing and everything else? You talk about the cost of war, in the Bosnia as well.
Now, the biggest cost is definitely the humanitarian aspect behind it. One aspect that a lot of people don't consider from war is a generational trauma that stems from it. I briefly touched on it a bit earlier in regards to children that may not necessarily know what is happening politically, but children are often mirrors for the real world around us. They reflect the fears that adults and maybe even their parents are expressing, even though they may try their best not to. So yeah, there's a lot of components that go into it, but generational trauma is definitely one of the biggest aspects of war.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we'll talk about how it's affecting worldwide and everything else with Ella Colic. We'll talk about the book Trees Without Roots in just 1 minute. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor, the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes, Riley, and Mills. So grab your copy today for Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 40 podcast platforms, including Hamilton Radio, Oldies FM, Diamonds Radio, and heard over 100 countries. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter today at the Mike Wagner Show. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books, merchandise, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. Also support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com at the Mike Wagner Show. Make sure you do so today. We're here with the amazing author Ella Colic of the new book Trees Without Roots here on the Mike Wagner Show. And when you're handed those, the pile of letters from your relative as well too. What are some of the things that were written in the letters that was also part of the stories? What are some of the letters you think that just really stood out for you?
A lot of the letters were very personal. I actually excluded a bunch of the letters from my book. I think in that envelope, there were 50, but I only included 22 in my book itself because you are dealing with a family that has conflicting identities. They are miles and miles away from each other. They probably haven't seen each other in months on end most of the time, and they don't know if the other family members are alive or not. So there have been actually a lot of letters that stood out to me, mostly because of the emotional toll that you can see that it took on my father and aunt when they were younger. But I don't think I can pinpoint necessarily one of them.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, the Bosnian War happened between 1991 and 1995. Do you think Bosnia and also Serbia and Croatia and Herzegovina, do you think they're slowly coming together after the war? Are they still apart, or what's the status like within those around 30 years or so?
I still do think there's a lot of divisive rhetoric going on, which is really unfortunate to see, because I thought that there would be some sort of rebuilding going on between the countries. But if anything, like in the most recent cases, there have been a lot more tension going on.
Mm-hmm. And then based on what you observed or what your parents wrote about the whole Bosnian War and everything, when it was all Yugoslavia, and based on talking to people, your parents and relatives and everything like that, what do you think was a real cause of the whole split of Yugoslavia?
That is a bit of a complicated question, and it goes very heavy into politics, which I don't necessarily feel comfortable talking about because it's not a main focus of my book. But yeah.
Oh, that's fine. We just want to get some observations when I ask you about that. But and of course, the book's been published in Bosnia. You just returned from there. What are those things you're working on in Bosnia as a result of publishing the book?
Yeah, so I am an ambassador for this project that I'm working on with my Bosnian publisher, Mehmed Pargan from BMG Tuzla. The organization is called Moja Prva knjiga, which translates to my first book. And essentially, the proceeds of my book go to help financially publish another young author's book. So we hold this competition every year. We just had ours in December 13th, and we plan on having another one this year again in December. And essentially, young authors from any country can submit their short story or some sort of book that they're writing on. And if they win, then the proceeds will help publish their book. So my book was financially sponsored the book Bosansko dijete, which means Bosnian child. And it is a poetry book written by the late Enes Hodžić. Enes Hodžić was 13 years old when he got hit by a grenade in front of his home and died along with his cousin. And the professors at his school, they found a bunch of poems that he wrote about the war, and it was hidden away in his school desk. And his parents didn't know until after he was deceased. So they took these poems and compiled into a book to honor him. And at our festival, I gave an introducing speech, introduced the book, and then we even played a documentary about his life. So we hope that this organization will have an effect to help encourage and influence and inspire other young authors to learn about their identity and to help them continue writing.
And do you think these poems parallel along with the book that you put out as well, too? Do you think the poems parallel with the book you wrote about?
Oh, yes, definitely. You could tell in his poems that there was a lot of fear that the children were feeling. It has a very different spin on it, but it still has the same message that children absorb the world around them and they can tell when something's wrong, but even though they don't necessarily know the political situation. But he was extremely talented, and I think he accurately captured the picture of what it was like when the war was happening.
Mm-hmm. And how does this writing the book change your life?
It changed my life in a lot of ways, but most importantly, I think it brought me and my family closer together because I have a greater sense of my identity right now. Before I wrote the book, I knew that I was both Muslim and Orthodox and that my parents were Bosnian refugees, but I didn't necessarily understand the burden, quote unquote burden that came along with it. So after talking with my father and aunt, I finally understood the true sense of my identity. And I think in a way it has changed my worldview and helped me become a bit more open-minded and help see similarities in actually other refugees as well with that.
And when you talk to the Americans as well, too, especially in Los Angeles, it's like, what's the impression that you get from most Americans when you talk about your situation and how often they ask you and everything else?
There's a lot of misunderstanding that goes along. I mean, most Americans don't necessarily even know where Bosnia is. So that kind of shows that this history is very much not talked about. So I hope that with my book, it can kind of bring the conversation back into light again. Even though the war happened only 30 plus years ago, I still do think it's important to keep talking about it and to learn from our mistakes.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, that you also said, too, that many Americans have difficult in grasping the human cost of war as well, because America has never been invaded. And tell us about that. And I hope we don't get invaded. So,
yeah, I mean, I hope we don't get invaded either. But I do think in a way that kind of makes us live in a bubble. Like, for example, when we're talking about the Ukrainian war, it's very easy to just rely on statistics. And those statistics, in a way, dehumanize the refugees. I believe the UN a few months ago came out with a statistic that 1 million refugees were generated from Ukraine, and they expect another 5 million by the end of the month. To us, 1 million, it doesn't seem like a lot. That's like the population of the entirety of San Jose. But when we take that into picture, 1 million people have left their hometown and they most likely will never return to their home country ever again. That's huge. So I do think in a way, Americans are desensitized and they need to find a way to become more compassionate and not just view international relations with just numbers, but these are people with their own stories. They're just like us as well.
And do you think too much social media is also causing the desensitization about both the Bosnian and the Ukrainian war?
I definitely think a lot of social media tends to do that, especially since every day we're on the news, we're bombarded with bad news constantly, that it becomes so easy to feel hopeless and just to take these numbers and treat them as only numbers. So that's why I do think even though social media coverage is important in the way to deliver the news to us quickly and efficiently, but at the same time, it does make us desensitized, which can make it more difficult to generate change.
Mm-hmm. And what do you want to what do you want to get the readers out of the book as well, too?
Not only do I want the readers to take their anger and frustration and generate it into compassion, I also want them to learn about their own identity, learn about their family history, because once you have a better understanding of yourself, it makes you, as I mentioned, more open-minded, and that in turn will help you connect with other people more easily, which can later on, I believe, generate into change itself.
And that sounds interesting. I think you're making a great impact, Ella. And what can we find more about your book?
Thank you. So you can find more about my book. I have a website called treeswithout.roots.com, all lowercase. I also have a Facebook page if you just search up my name, Ella Colic, or even on Instagram, ella.colic.
We will certainly do so. What's coming up for the amazing Ella Colic and more? We'll find out just 1 minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor, The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosensia Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with the author of Trees Without Roots, Ella Colic, after this time.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshazia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to The Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
We're back with the author of Trees Without Roots, Ella Colic, here on The Mike Wagner Show. And just gave a great story about her book and the whole history behind the Bosnian War and everything else like that. And what else can we expect in 2022 and beyond, Ella?
I do hope to write another book or come up with another project that encompasses the situation that did happen in former Yugoslavia. But as of now, I am doing some medical research, so that has been taking up most of my time. But in general, I do hope to continue writing.
And of course, I could wish you all the best in your medical career as well, too. And maybe I could use some reconstructive surgery. I'll give you a call sometimes.
Oh, no, you don't need any reconstructive surgery. You look amazing.
I'm kidding. Although I get a little nosy at times. But and who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
I would say Dr. Pomahawk is my biggest influence, as well as Carmen Tarleton. So Dr. Pomahawk, he's one of the leading facial reconstructive surgeons. And Carmen Tarleton, I actually had the opportunity to interview her for my research. And she is an incredible human being that just radiates so much positivity. So she's actually what influenced me the most to go into this division.
Oh, that's very nice. I wish you all the best, and you got an amazing future ahead. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Best advice, just keep writing, document anything that you can about your life, because even though it may seem insignificant at the time, it will have a great impact later in life, maybe even small ways if it's just learning about yourself and whatnot. But even if you don't want to publish anything, keep writing, keep learning, and just keep loving everyone.
And we're certainly going to write that down. Thank you very much. We're here with author Ella Colic of Trees Without Roots here on the Mike Wagner Show. Ella, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep us up to date, keep in touch. Love to have you back. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact, or can people purchase or check out your book?
For sure. So thank you also for having me here again. And as I've mentioned before, my website is treeswithoutroots.com. Facebook is Ella Colic. Instagram is also Trees Without Roots, or my personal page, ella.colic.
We will certainly do so. Once again, Ella, very big thank you for your time. You've been totally amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep us up to date, keep in touch. Love to have you back. We wish you all the best, and you've got a great future ahead of you.
Thank you.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show. Brought to you by international award-winning author Mia Mohsen-Zia of Missing, and powered by Sonic Web Studios. Be sure to join us again on over 40 podcast platforms, and of course on the mikewagnershow.com, hamiltonradio.net, and Diamonds FM. Don't forget to support our program with a generous donation at themikewagnershow.com. Thanks for listening.